Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're back talking about theme park advice, and this week we're talking about Epcot. Epcot is by far my most favourite park in Disney. It seems to be the place we go to when we never know what to do during that day. We always go to Epcot because it has so much to offer. It's a really big park and there's just loads to do. There's stuff there for anyone, no matter what they're interested in. Epcot is also the Disney park where I got engaged, so it has a particularly special place in my heart. The main reason I like Epcot is because even though it is a big and well-known park, it never really feels particularly crowded. I think that's because everywhere's pretty spread out and there's different sections of the park that people tend to stay in during their visit there, so because of that it doesn't feel as crowded as other parks. So let's get into the video. These are my top 10 tips, tricks and must-do activities when on your next trip to Epcot. Tip number 1, don't take the tram. Compared to other Disney car parks, Epcot is quite a small one. All the parking spaces are pretty close to the main entrance. It will only take a 5 or 10 minute walk to get to the main entrance. If you don't know, all the Disney parks run a tram service where a tram will drive around the car park to pick you up and take you straight to the front gate, but I don't think it's very necessary for Epcot to do. Every time I've been to Epcot, all the parking spaces have never seemed to be particularly far from the front gate, so we just end up walking. By the time you get out your car and get everything and then you waiting for the tram and then you get on the tram, you might as well just have walked because it takes the same amount of time more or less anyway. It's also particularly good to remember when you're exiting the park because obviously, especially at the end of the day, the tram service is really crowded and everyone's trying to get on them. If your car's not too far from the gates, which in Epcot it probably won't be, just do the walk. You'll get there a lot quicker and it will save you lots of time. Tip number 2, treat Epcot as 2 parks. Like other Disney parks, Epcot doesn't actually have lands as such. I like splitting Epcot up into 2 different sections so that when I go on the first day I just centre myself around one part of the park, and then when I go the next time to Epcot during the holiday I go to the second part of the park. This just makes it a lot easier when planning your time and what rides to go on. Epcot seems to be a really spread out park. I don't know why. I don't know if it actually is or whether it just feels it. But everything seems to have their own section. Nothing's particularly close together, so it is a lot of walking to and fro. So I would definitely recommend making your own sections in your head and just trying to tackle one section at a time. I treat the World Showcase as one separate section and then the front half of the park as the second section. World Showcase is a really big area on its own, so you can easily spend a day just walking around that and taking everything in. I really like to go to World Showcase at the start of the day and just take my time and do everything I want to do rather than rushing around it and then trying to do other things in the front half of the park. Also World Showcase, because you're walking around a lake, once you start you really got to go the whole way round, so it can be quite time consuming. And then the front half of the park is all the scientific rides and all the educational rides like Figment, Mission Space, Spaceship Earth, Soaring, all the rides like that, and I would just spend one day trying to tackle all the rides at the front of the park in the main section and then just do World Showcase another day. Tip number 3, look at what extra activities are on and take time to watch them. I think a lot of Epcot's activities don't actually have a specific time when they play, located in their map or anything, but they do have a lot of shows going on in the park and a lot to offer. I know in the front half of the park they do have a little show called the Dramators, which are bin men which play the drums, and they're really good. I've never known a particular time when they're on. I've always just seemed to come across them and sit and watch them. So if you get the chance to watch them, definitely do, because they're lots of fun and they're really interactive and they let you join in and it's really good. I also think in the majority of the countries around the World Showcase have different pieces of entertainment going on at different times. Obviously you can only catch these if you're in the area at a certain time, but they are really fun to watch and explain the culture of the country. I feel like all these entertainment aspects like this really make Disney parks what they are. Tip number 4, go in the aquarium. In the front half of Epcot there is an attraction called Exploring the Sea with Nemo or something along those lines. It's a ride for all ages and you basically go through and experience Nemo's story from the film Finding Nemo. And then at the end of the ride you go into a massive aquarium which you can look around. You don't have to go on the ride to see the aquarium, you can just go in through the gift shop and then you'll be straight in the aquarium, but I would really take the time out to go and see it. I believe last time I checked it's the 3rd largest aquarium in America, so it is literally huge. It just has loads to offer. I particularly love fish, so I always make sure to go in there, but I think it's a really nice thing to do, and again it's different from other theme parks. It's very educational and it's very interesting. Tip number 5, wear comfortable shoes. Like I said, it seems to be a theme park where you do an awful lot of walking. I think everything's just really spread out. You've got to go through a lot of tunnels. It's not very easy to get from place to place. Most areas there's only one direct route to go, so you have to go the long way round for a lot of rides and attractions. So my top tip would be to make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes, something that you will be able to do a lot of walking in, especially when you're going around the World Showcase. The World Showcase is positioned around a lake, so you have to walk around it, and it is a lot of walking, especially when you're taking the time out to look around all the shops and everything as well. Also be careful if you're wearing flip-flops. I've definitely burnt my feet, the tops of my feet, when walking around the World Showcase, because there's not a lot of shade when you're walking around them, so it's very easy for the heat to get to you and onto your feet, which is horrible. So yes, just please make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes and something that's going to be nice for your trip. Tip number 6. Go into mouse gear. This isn't necessarily a tip, it's just a must do. I feel like mouse gear is the best shop on Disney property. It is the main shop in Epcot when you walk in through the front gates. It's just behind the main ball, which is Spaceship Earth. Yeah, it is Spaceship Earth, which is Spaceship Earth. And it is a massive Disney shop, and it always seems to have different sort of things in there. I specifically like it now that they've changed World of Disney and Disney Springs, because it's been all made open plan. It just overwhelms me. You can see all the stuff you've got to look at, and it's just too much for me, so I don't really like shopping in there anymore. I much prefer going in mouse gear. They kind of almost have the same amount of stuff, but it is just so much better spread out and divided up. They always seem to have the things you want, and they also seem to have different things as well. Like if you're looking for something in particular and you haven't found it in any other shop, definitely go in mouse gear, because I can assure you it will probably be in there. I always take the time out when going to Epcot to look around in there and browse. It's probably where I buy my most Disney stuff, and I just love it. Tip number 7 is play the Perry the Platypus game. This is an interactive game that you can play around the World Showcase. It's kind of like Mickey the Sorcerer cards, but in my opinion I think it's better. There's a little booth on your left hand side right before you walk up to the World Showcase, which has everything you need to know there. Basically you download an app on your phone, and it is a game that gives you missions to play when you're in each country around the park. I believe there's a different mission for every country, which is really good. It's based off the film Phineas and Ferb, if you know that. It used to be based off Kim Possible, which I actually preferred because I'm older, but obviously they've got to attract it to younger children now, so it's based off Phineas and Ferb. It will probably change again, because I don't think Phineas and Ferb is actually still making new episodes, so they're probably going to start changing it again. But at the minute it's Perry the Platypus, and it has all the characters in, and basically you got to try and solve the missions in different countries. The countries have made it really interesting and really interactive. You literally have to explore the whole country in the World Showcase and try and complete this mission. It's got lots of things going on, you can control a lot of things, and it's just a really fun thing to do, especially if you have children, because the World Showcase can be considered a bit boring for children. I remember when I was younger I thought it was a bit boring until this game came out. It just gives them something to do and does teach them at the same time. I definitely recommend doing it, especially if you are going to walk around the World Showcase and maybe you've been around a few times and kind of know what it holds. It's just a fun way to do something new around the World Showcase, and because this area of the park does take up a lot of time, it is nice to break it down with doing these little missions in between. Even if you do them in a couple of countries, it doesn't matter what ones you do it in. Maybe if you find one country a bit less interesting than another, just do it in that country to kind of fill up your time a bit. But I definitely recommend doing it if you have the chance to. Tip number 8 is to know about the International Gateway. In between the World Showcase country France and the United Kingdom, there is an international gateway, which is a second entrance or exit to Epcot. It is really good to know about. It basically takes you straight onto an area of Disney called the Boardwalk, which holds a lot of Disney's resorts and hotels and has a few shops, and it's a really nice area to go and visit. It's never particularly busy and crowded. A lot of people go for morning runs if they're staying in the resort there, and it's a nice area to go and visit if you are stuck on a day of what to do or a morning on what to do. Like I said, it's really peaceful, so if you're maybe getting a bit overwhelmed in the park and you need somewhere to step out and you are going around the World Showcase, I would definitely go through that exit and just take a moment to sit out there. There's benches right outside the International Gateway, and you're able to enter right back into the park when you want to. It's particularly good if you get anxious or just need some space. The World Showcase can get particularly crowded and busy because it is a really interesting and fun thing to do. It's also good to do if you are staying on one of the Boardwalk's hotels. This could be the Swan and Dolphin Hotel, the Boardwalk Hotel, the Yacht and Beach Club Hotel. There's quite a few dotted around on the Boardwalk, and it's not a very long walk to get to the front gates of Epcot. It could save you on parking or just make your journey to Epcot a little bit shorter. It's also good in the evening when the fireworks are on. If you do know you've got a hotel on the boardwalk, position yourself for the fireworks towards the UK or France, and then you'll be able to go straight out the international gateway instead of walking all the way back to the front gate of Epcot to go around again. Tip number 9, watch the Voices of Liberty. They're not really a well-known show, but the Voices of Liberty are a show which is in the American Pavilion, and it is honestly amazing. It is presented in the main building in the foyer, which you can go watch a show afterwards if you want to, but I personally just go to watch the Voices of Liberty. A choir of about 8 people come on and sing old American songs as well as current Disney songs. Because they're in this grand foyer with high ceilings, all their voices echo, and they're an a cappella choir, and they are just so lovely to watch. It's a really nice vibe when you go in there because there's not really many chairs, everyone's just sat on the floor just like taking everything in. I think they're one of the best things to do in Epcot, so please, please, please go and watch them if you get the chance to. They do have specific times, so they tell you all the times on the My Disney Experience app. As you probably know, America is in the middle of the pavilion, so it is right at the back of the lake, so you either have to walk all the way around to the middle, or you can get a boat straight there actually, but just please make sure you get there in time and take the time out of your trip to Epcot to go and watch them. You won't regret it. It is my favourite thing to do, and I make sure to go and watch them every time I go. Tip number 10, stay to watch the fireworks. I feel like I shouldn't really be talking about this because I haven't watched the new fireworks show yet, but Illuminations used to be my favourite fireworks show, and it would always be my top out of all the theme parks to go and watch in the evening. Obviously I haven't watched this new show yet, but if it's anything to follow by Illuminations, then it will probably be brilliant. I love the setup of the fireworks. It's in the lake around the World Showcases, so every spot's really a good spot. You can stand anywhere around the river, so you can stand in any country, which is really nice. It's not like Magic Kingdom's fireworks where you're stood down a long row of people, so there could be hundreds of people in front of you. There's only going to be a couple of people in front of you because it is an arena setting rather than just one point. I definitely make the time to watch them. I will let you know what they are like when I next go and see them because I'm really excited for them. I would definitely recommend getting there about an hour early so you can get a good spot. Obviously it is very easy, well, much easier than in the other parks to get a decent spot. If you get there about an hour early, you are more or less sure to get a space right by the front of the gates, so you have perfect view. And like I say, you're going to have a good spot wherever you stand. Please just take the time out to go and watch it. Like I said, it's by far the best of all of them in my opinion. Right everybody, that's the end of another video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it if you're still here. I will be linking a blog post in the description. It's going to be a beginner's guide of Epcot, and I'm going to go into even more detail of everything that Epcot has to offer and what you should definitely do and think about. Please remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and always write a comment in the description of what your tips and tricks for Epcot to do are. Hopefully if you're watching this video you're planning to go to Florida or have just been to Florida or go to Florida quite regularly, so please let me know if you're going to Disney anytime soon and what you're planning on doing. I would love to hear them, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!